Dylan Lane, and today I'm going to be sharing with you 15 songwriting tips for beginners. I'm really excited to share these tips with you because they're things that I've personally learned over my songwriting journey. They also incorporate techniques that I've gathered from my years studying at Berklee College of Music. If you're new here, I'm so glad you stopped by. I teach songwriting tutorials, ukulele tutorials, so if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. And last, before we get started, I've made you a printable sheet with all of the information in this video, and I'll post a link to that down below as well. Alright, 15 songwriting tips for beginners. Also, if you're not a beginner, these tips can still be helpful. In fact, these are things that I still do to this day, and I've been a songwriter for 20 years. So, number 1, immerse yourself in songs that you want your songs to sound like. You see, sometimes without realizing it, we subconsciously write in the style that we're used to hearing. And a lot of times, this happens without even trying. Cool, huh? Growing up, I listened to a lot of Joni Mitchell, and for as long as I can remember, people have always asked me, has anyone ever told you your voice sounds like Joni Mitchell? And this brings me to number 2, spend a large amount of time learning songs that you want your music to sound like. Similarly to the first tip I gave you, over time, you will subconsciously begin to write songs in a style that you practice songs in. You will naturally begin to incorporate learned melodies, rhythms, and lyrics into your own original music. Some people might think, I want my music to sound different than every song ever, but that's just not possible. You see, every piece of art or music out there, it's all inspired by something in some way. The cool thing about that is that we as artists and musicians, we get to choose what we want to be influenced and inspired by. What differentiates us from being influenced by someone versus copying someone is putting our own twist on something. So don't be afraid to use things that you like, and ask yourself, what's one thing I could do to make this sound a little different than the original? Number 3, take time to brainstorm ideas for songs. When you're brainstorming, try to remind yourself that there is no bad idea. If anything, you can always go back and refresh an idea to make it better. Your brainstorming session should be stress-free and fun. This will allow for a long stream of thoughts and creative ideas. So, if you're feeling particularly stressed or stumped in the brainstorming process, walk away and come back later. Number 4, decide on your song form before beginning the lyric writing process. For example, do you want your song form to be verse, chorus, or verse, chorus, bridge, chorus? There are several options you could choose from, but deciding ahead of time will help you stay focused throughout the rest of the songwriting process. Without focus, you could fall into a trap of writing a never-ending verse. Number 5, if you start writing a song and suddenly think to yourself, I like where this song is going, run. Grab your phone or laptop or any other recording device and immediately record everything you've written up until that point. I can't tell you how many times I've promised myself that I'll remember something just because I'm too lazy to get up and go get my recording device. Several years ago, I made a pact with myself to never trust myself to remember a song again. Number 6, if you've written several songs on the same instrument and feel like your current song sounds just like all the rest, try out a new instrument. For example, if you always write on guitar, try switching to the piano or the ukulele. Sometimes just the sound of a new instrument will spark new ideas. If you don't own an additional instrument, consider buying one for cheap. Then, watch a bunch of YouTube tutorials that will teach you how to play that instrument. If you find that you're frequently writing songs that you enjoy with your new cheap instrument, then consider investing into a nicer quality one. I personally recommend a ukulele, primarily for its portability and minimal learning curve. Number 7, put yourself on the spot. Turn on your phone's video camera and pretend that you're live streaming. You have to come up with a song on the spot as if you'd already written it and as if 1,000 people are watching you live. After 5 minutes, watch the video back and see if you like anything you came up with. Even if you only like a 5 or 10 second portion, take that portion and write an entire song around just that. Number 8, try coming up with the title of your song before you write anything else in the song. The title of your song is so important because it's what you want your listener to remember more than anything else. Because when they hear your song and decide that they want to look it up, they'll most likely be typing the title of your song into Google. That being said, you want your title to be memorable. So if you write your title before the rest of the song, you're guaranteeing that your title won't be an afterthought. 9, grab a friend, relative, or fellow musician and attempt to write a song together. Collaboration. Take turns writing one line at a time, or maybe even one section at a time. For example, you come up with the chorus and your partner comes up with the verse. Or alternatively, you come up with line 1 of the verse and your partner comes up with line 2 of the verse. You write line 3, your partner writes line 4, etc., etc., etc. It's important when you're writing a song with somebody to always be encouraging and kind to one another, even if you don't like their ideas. If one person is more bossy than the other, it'll start to feel less like a collaboration and more like a one-person show. At that point, it's not really a collaboration anymore. Number 10, embrace criticism. I know this is easier said than done, but trust me, it'll help you so much in your songwriting journey. Honestly, one of the best ways you can improve as a songwriter is through getting feedback from other people. I always suggest having a musician as well as a non-musician listen to your song with the intention of giving you honest feedback. The cool thing to remember is that you're never obligated to take anybody's suggestions. Therefore, you can respectfully listen to any feedback that is offered, thank that person for their time, and then use whatever you think will enhance the song most. Number 11, try completing the song before you walk away. This doesn't mean that you have to be happy with how the song sounds. It just means that you can revisit the song in order to make it better. I find this to be a much less intimidating method than coming back to a song that's somewhat finished but mostly a blank canvas. Number 12, never compare yourselves to songwriters who have already made a successful career out of what they're doing. You are unique and you have your own journey and you will always be growing towards wherever you're trying to go. If you're going to compare yourself, do it in a way that's inspiring rather than discouraging. For example, if you find a songwriter that you love, ask yourself what it is that you love, and then incorporate those methods into your own music. But don't fall into the trap of, they've made it so far and I'm just nothing. As long as you keep chasing after whatever goal it is you're trying to reach as a songwriter, you'll eventually get there as long as you don't give up. Number 13, if you would like your song to be catchy, you're going to have to do the catchy song test. Ask some friends or relatives to come sit in the same room with you as you play your song. Tell them to start singing along to your song the second they feel that they might know some of the words or melody. A good indicator that you've written a catchy song is if your friends or family members are able to sing along with the last chorus of the song. If you find they are struggling to do this, don't worry. Simply take note of the melodies or lyrics in which they're struggling to sing along with, and consider rewriting those parts to be more easy to sing along with. Number 14, always carry a journal around with you for song title ideas. Or you can always use the Notes app in your phone. Sometimes the most random things will give me a song title idea. But as I mentioned earlier, I've learned to trust myself to not remember songs or song titles. So I immediately write my idea down in my journal or Notes app. This way I can come back to my song title idea list whenever I need inspiration. Lastly, number 15, the one that took me the longest to learn, don't be afraid to write songs that you personally don't connect with. For example, you may find that someone you know is going through a difficult situation. You decide that you want to write a song about their experience, from their perspective. You might not necessarily be able to relate with them, but that doesn't mean that you can't still write about their experience and what they're going through. I used to feel that I could only write songs about me and my life and nothing else. I actually convinced myself that if I didn't do this, I wasn't an authentic songwriter, but that just isn't the case. I've learned that with songwriting, it isn't always about my own personal emotions. Sometimes it's about giving someone else a voice and sharing their story. And there it is, my 15 songwriting tips. I hope this was inspiring. If you had a favorite tip, let me know in the comments down below. And if you would like a printable version of this list with a few bonus tips, I'll put a link to that in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye!